Sweet, beautiful souls, welcome back. Hello. Today we are talking about two incredibly potent tools that I have been so immersed in over the years, and that is gene keys and human design. And how do we use these blueprints for our health, for our business, for our relationships, and really just our life overall? So this is going to be such a fun conversation and really going to equip you on how to use these systems in a way that will completely transform your life. Because here is the thing. I want to preface all of this with the only thing that I would say I would put above these is your intuition. Now, a lot of people have not developed their intuition. We all have incredible intuition. We can all predict the future. We all have psychic gifts. We all have this within us. We simply just were not taught. So when you work with me, I hope you develop your intuition so that you do not need other people to affirm and confirm and tell you what to do. However, gene keys and human design are like blueprints. They're blueprints of essentially your coding. Now, why I believe that these are really cool, in addition to intuition, in addition to our own psychic gifts and using this, is that they have brought through information that I would have never thought to have asked. I would have never thought to have asked my intuition how my energy works, and having a context and a framework to lay that out, right? And so this is where human design and gene keys are incredible tools. Now, I will share more with you at the end, but I've been doing gene key and human design readings, and they're life-changing. They're life-changing because, like I said, they're like the blueprint that you have never gotten. I believe in the world that we are evolving into. People will get these in school. Like, children will learn their human design and gene keys in elementary school. But until we are there, we now have the opportunity. They always say, like, the best day to learn, or what is that saying? Is like the best time was yesterday and the second best is today, right? So we're here now, and we do your, of course, whenever you receive something is the perfect time, right? Like, you didn't need it up until now, and now you're here, and it is for a reason. So I want to dive into these systems. This particular episode, video, podcast is not about what these systems are, how they work. I want to dive into what I pull from these systems, because if you just want like a very basic, like, what is human design, what is gene keys, probably go back to some of my previous videos, or just like have a peruse around the Googles and really the two sites to learn about these systems. Because I want to give you guys a lot of value in here, not just tell you what these systems are, because if you've been here, you've probably heard me mention these systems before. So why, though, I want to bring this up is that when I work with clients, I love looking, especially in like longer term mentorship work, I love pulling their gene keys and their human design. A lot of people, when they're struggling with health issues, when they're struggling in their business, when they're struggling with relationships, there is an element of something that we're not understanding about ourselves, plain and simple. There's an element that we're not understanding about ourselves and how we operate and work. Now, of course, this is quite a large umbrella for all of the things that can fall underneath this. There are energetic blocks and all of these things that can arise. However, I believe when we understand how we work, now we can tap into our intuition. I actually see this as like a feedback loop of intuition and these two systems. So the more I have found, which is really cool, I have found that the more that I learn gene keys and human design, it's actually strengthened my intuition. And the more I strengthen my intuition, the more I understand these systems. Because what these systems do is they unlock and illuminate the parts and aspects of you that you already innately knew to be true. And so here's what happens in the world. We're all being told a million and one things of how to run a business, of how to heal the body, of how to operate in relationships that is the best way, and just take this person's 5-step system and you will attract the love of your life, you will have a multi-million dollar business, you will heal your body, all of these things, right? But what if this wasn't your way? What if this wasn't your way? And so what I often see is people like pushing against trying to make things work. And you're moving against the flow of your innate body, of your innate energy system. So for myself, finding out, so I first found out as a projector, and this was in human design. This totally changed my paradigm of reality. And it was not long after then that I was introduced to gene keys. And I really see these two systems as the masculine and feminine, which is why I'm talking about them together. Human design, I see as, and again, it's not like boy and girl or like anything like that, but like the masculine is the structure. It's human design, I see as the masculine. It is the structure. This is how your energy works. This is what your energy type is, and this is how it operates and works in the world. Gene keys, I see as the feminine. It is flowy. There is room for interpretation, and it is just like each key that you open up and unlock is like a portal to this infinite dimension and space. I listen to there are some gene keys that I have listened to. I don't even know how many times, probably like 50 times. And every time I learn something new, every time I hear something new, every time it lands a bit deeper. Right. And so this is what and that is the feminine. That is the feminine. Infinite, just, oh, I get like chills talking about this. Just abundance and portals and wisdom that as you unlock more, you unlock more. And as you unlock more, you unlock more. Right. And so I think these two systems complement each other so well. So when I found out I was a projector, I was, oh my goodness, talk about wild health issues, so much burnout. And I realized that it was so much less about my diet and supplements and doing the right protocols, and you guys have heard me talk about this before, but I was living out of alignment of how my energy works. I was living in a generator dominated world. So if you're not familiar with the types of human designs, so the broader energy types, and then there's so much information within that, are going to be generators, manifesting generators, projectors, and reflectors and manifestors. I was like, I forgot one. Generators, manifesting generators, projectors, reflectors, I'm sorry, manifestors, and then reflectors in that order is like how prevalent they are in the world. So about 70% of the population is generators and manifesting generators. That's a big percentage. And so our world is kind of set up to move in the way that generators and manifesting generators work. The majority of the people in my life are manifesting generators and generators. And if you are a projector though, and you're trying to work at the same way that a generator works, you're going to inevitably hit a wall. Inevitably. Inevitably. It just is a matter of when. Because our energy is not designed to work that way. Okay? So when I learned that projectors we're designed to work 3 to 4 hours a day, I started getting curious on how I could reformat my schedule. When I started to learn that, oh, projectors need a lot more time in nature, that was almost like oh, duh, that's just confirmation of my already love. Then learning that I was a 3/5 projector. This was very pivotal for me because the threes I mean, so when I do a reading for you, I look into all of your numbers that will be relevant to the questions that you have about yourself and your life. But for myself, I was trying to find like the right way to do things, right? In my business and in my health and kind of in relationships, but more so my business and my health at the time when I discovered it. And especially so for a three line, it is all about trial and error. So if you have a three in your profile, you got to just try things. You got to try things. So if you're a 1 3 or a 3 5, you are designed to experiment. They are called the experimenters. And this is why it's like that's how our energy works. We cannot be told what to do. We have to go and experience it for ourselves. And then we tell others what we learned. Right. And so, well, for me, that is the five line. The five is going to be the teacher. So I love to tell people and teach people about what I've learned from my experiences, what I've learned in my healing journey, what I've learned through my life and all of these experiences I've had. That was huge for me. And then when we get into the other subsectors of human design, such as, oh my goodness, your split definition, how you make decisions, learning that I was a splenic authority. And that's how I make decisions via my spleen. Now, how many people have ever been taught to tune into their spleen? Everyone's always like, what's your gut feeling? But a spleen is a different type of feeling. It is the most primal feeling. It is like, I know like that when I know something. And that was also very, very interesting because growing up, having a mother who is an emotional authority. She has to go into all of the emotions. She has to think about it. She has to be, that's how they make decisions. You go into the emotions of all of the options and outcomes. For me, I know. But growing up, we learn so much from our parents. And again, obviously, my mom didn't. If you are a parent, I have worked with parents and they say that this is like the cheat code for raising children. Like, especially this woman that I worked with a few weeks ago, she has a manifester son and she's a generator. And she was like, I want every parent to have this understanding because she's like, it has helped me understand my child so much. And I am able to work with his energy and understand him. And she's like, I was getting frustrated with him. He was frustrated with me. And she's like, our relationship has improved. He's doing so much better in school, all of these things. Like we think children have ADHD and there's a lot of other factors, diet and all of these things. But if we understand how kids work and their energy, things change. So like how to make decisions was really important. How do I make decisions in my health? How do I make decisions in my relationships? How do I make decisions in my business? I know. And when I know, and I have to go. I have to, and it's this is like one of the most frustrating parts for me is that like if it's a big decision, I really want to make sure I'm making the right decision, right? But that's when I get into like the overthinking. And once if you are a splenic authority and you start overthinking, you've lost it. You've lost it. So this doesn't mean it's lost for good. It'll come back. You'll have another opportunity. But another big thing, big, huge thing for health, for health for health and healing. In human design, there's your digestion. It blows me away that we are taught how to operate, how to eat, what to eat. And there are certain people that go completely against how they, quote, should be eating, how they should, when they should be eating, all of this intermittent fasting studies and research. And like, this is what blows me away is that all of these studies that we do, we have no idea what their human design are. We have no idea what their gene keys say. And I'm like, this is a factor. This plays a role, especially when we're talking about like, for example, if we're talking about diets that benefit people, but we're not accounting people's digestion. So, for example, there are people who do best It is it's called there's there's the direct light and indirect light. And if you are an indirect light digestion, you are going to digest your food better when you are eating in the dark. And it doesn't have to be like dark, but like before the sun comes up and after the sun goes down. You will have, that's when your digestion is best. That is so contrary to what we're taught. We're always taught like don't eat before bed. For these people, it's literally the best for them. For some people, direct sunlight. Those are the people, they do best eating in the sun. So eating when the sun is up and then stopping when the sun is down. And again, these aren't hard and fast rules. It doesn't mean you can never have what, if you're direct sunlight, it doesn't mean you can't ever eat after the sun goes down, especially like especially in daylight savings time when it is like dark at 4:30. Like that would, I don't know about you guys, but like I don't love now that I always eat dinner and it's pitch black outside. But those aren't my digestion types. For me, I'm telling you guys, all my human design stuff, I'm a calm touch. So for me, and this was like one of those things that like I find sometimes, again, these aren't hard and fast rules, but this has been a challenging one for me. But it has, once I learned it, I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. I can only, not only, but I do best eating when it's calm. When I am calm, when the environment around me is calm. So like I don't love eating at like social gatherings. Like that is like a nightmare for me. Not a nightmare, but it's just like it's not enjoyable because especially as a projector, I am just very intuitive of my environments and the people that are around me. And it is not uncommon for me to pick up on other people's emotions and perhaps their hunger or their not hunger or any of that. And so I just find like, and plus, like, just dietarily, anyways, we won't get into that. Um, So learning that, also, if you do have calm digestion, another tip that I always recommend for these types of people is like if you're going out to eat with people, decide what you want before you go out to eat. Because for a lot of people with this digestion type, you will pick up on what someone else wants. Not always. You have to be very strong in your energetic boundaries. It is very common to go out to eat with people and feel what someone else wants and ordering that, and then you get it and you're like, this isn't necessarily what I wanted. So anyways, there's all types of digestion. There's also hot thirst and cold thirst. Like these people will do better. Hot liquids, cold liquids. They do best with liquids. And again, this doesn't mean you don't eat food. But like if you are trying to heal your body, like if you're really trying to heal your body and you're struggling with like autoimmune conditions or something like that, I would try and get the majority of your calories from liquids for a while. Still eat, like if you feel, work with someone who can like work with your with intuition to see what your body is wanting. Um, but so when it comes to health, these are so important to look at. Now, the next part of health that and healing the body that, my gosh, it will be an amazing day in society when we talk about this on a global mainstream level, as we have to look at how we're living our lives. This is probably my favorite part about Gene Keys. My favorite part within Gene Keys is that it is the blueprint of what you are coded and here to do. This gives us the path and roadmap of how we are meant to be fulfilling our purpose. So within Gene Keys, we have the activation sequence, we have the Venus sequence, and we have the Pearl. And all of these spheres make up your Gene Key chart. So within your Gene Key chart, within the activation sequence, we have this beautiful sequence of kind of just like your purpose, your life's work, your environment, and how you how you can thrive in the world, sharing your gifts. And then within the Venus sequence, this is all about our relationships and essentially your coding of what you came into the world, your first your first cycle of 0 to 7 years old, and then from 7 to 14 years old, and then from 14 to 21, what your, like, these are the times in our, especially 0 to 7, when we are deeply imprinted with information. And so what did we receive during those times, and what gifts did we have, or rather were we learning and evolving through during these times? Now, if you're not, again, this isn't an informational thing about how these systems work, but if you're not familiar with gene keys, within every single gene key, because this is important to know, there's going to be the shadow, the gift, and the siddhi. And this is SIDDHI, which is essentially the enlightened state. So we have the shadow, the gift, and the siddhi within all of us, within all of these within us. So it's not like we just are the shadow, we are the gift. The shadow is how, embracing the shadow is how we unlock the gift, which is then how we unlock the siddhi, right? You can't skip grades, and there are going to be gradients between these. But when we understand the shadow and our shadow aspects, now we can embrace them, learn how our Achilles heel, learn the things that we are not good at, learn the things that agitate us, learn the things that trigger us. And then we unlock the gift and we start living in alignment with our purpose and our truth and who we are. And then the cities are just like, man, when you touch these states, it is just like, I was going to say ecstasy, which is funny because that is actually one of my gene keys, is the siddhi is ecstasy. And that's actually my pearl. And what a beautiful state to taste and to touch. And it is very unlikely to live in the cities, but when we have a taste of them, a touch of them, an understanding of them, we now know that that is available within us to access, to unlock. And we open the portal to going to that place and downloading what our soul wants us to know. And I have to share with you, because I have just, like, when it comes to studying gene keys, it's like truly some of the most profound moments of my life. I will just share that. Driving to the coast, listening to keys, learning this wisdom, contemplating it deeply. Like, sometimes there's just one sentence that is said that unlocks everything for me. It unlocks just an entire dimension of me just sitting silently for an hour, just in awe and amazement. And studying this so deeply for 5 years, it's become so just a way of knowing and a way of life. And so, as I shared, for example, my pearl, this is a really beautiful one to look at. This is going to be in the pearl sequence. And the pearl sequence is how we make money. It is the prosperity sequence. And so anyone who is working with money, working with their unique prosperity code, this is going to be what we would do a reading on. And this is how our culture, how our environment, how we are meant to work with people. The line numbers are not something that many people are taught, but I learned doing the courses of gene keys. And this is like, so for example, you'll have your key like 44, and then it'll be point something. The point something, it's going to be 1 through 6, and this is going to be how you live out that. So for example, are you meant to work one-on-one with people? Are you meant to work in small groups? Are you meant to work as teams of 3 to 15 people? Are you meant to work with a network, or are you meant to be like 6 lines, or are really the magical, like you have all of them and really are future oriented and see and are bringing down new systems. But it's also going to depend upon each gene key, how the line number expresses. So when we take these into account of like, how does your soul want to make money? How does your soul want to have a business? How does your soul want to work with the world? This is going to give you massive insight into this as to how you are uniquely coded to bring forth your wisdom and your knowledge that only you can, and share it with the world, right? And this is also like an expanding, growing thing. Like you are an expanding, growing thing. And your gene keys will help you see this. And so also when we look at then like the activation sequence, we're going to see what is your life's work? What is your purpose? How are you meant to live these out? How do these play out in your life? And and really, one of the best parts as well about this is that then we can understand relationships. And relationships are the foundation for our health, for our business, for our lives. How do we interact with people? How do we interact with the world? And so this Venus sequence is going to show us our primal coding of how we came into this world. And then how do we begin to learn ourselves in this world? And then how do we begin to interact with others in this world? And so then there's like the really important key, which the fascinating thing about gene keys in human design is that they're the masculine and feminine. That's how I see them. I don't think that they would, I don't know if they would refer to themselves as that, but that's how I see them. You are going to be given your most important key in human design. I think it's called your most, what is it called? Your most important gift in human design. That is also going to be your life's work in gene keys. So all of the numbers that you have in your human design are also going to be keys. Not all of them, but your main ones in human design are also your gates and channels. Those are going to be your gene keys. And so they really interplay off of each other. So example for mine is 28, my gift in human design. And then that is my life's work in gene keys. And it's kind of cool because they have a little bit different interpretation. But again, when we combine both of them, we have this really beautiful expression and experience of how to view and perceive ourselves and how we are meant to show up in the world. So this is just like touching the surface of these incredible, beautiful systems and how they work, how we can learn them and understand them and integrate them into our lives. If you're trying to heal your body, this will help. If you're trying to grow your business, this will help. If you're trying to make more money, this will help. If you're trying to attract the love of your life, this will help. If you're trying to strengthen your relationships, this will help. If you're trying to live out your life's mission and purpose, this will help. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, since I've been doing this in one-on-one sessions, I decided to offer these chart readings just standalone. So you will have the opportunity, because I would rather than just telling you all of your keys and all of your how your human design is, I will do that, but I want you to ask me questions. So in these reports, these are like, I've never seen anyone do this. I want you to ask and have a list of all of the things that you want me to know. And from there, I will pull that information from your chart, as well as, because it's me, I'm going to intuitively tap in and also bring forth what your soul wants you to know in in relation to this, because it is so important. And this is such an intuitive process. And these reports will then give you, like, this is going to be something that you can look back on time and time and again to help guide you to the next level and the next level and the next level. The next level of your healing, the next level of your business, the next level of your relationships, the next level of your life and growth and expansion. Opening up and unlocking your intuitive gifts. All of this is available through these systems, right? And so again, as I shared, these systems are not the end all be all. Your intuition, I highly recommend learning this, whether it is through me or someone else. But then these systems give you like this unique, tailored blueprint of how to optimize and live your life. So, all of the details for those are going to be below. I've also just started thinking if you would want like both, like, because as you can see, I find both of them very helpful. I have the link for just a human design reading or just a gene key reading. So if you've been diving into human design, like maybe you're ready for unlocking the gene keys. And if you've been in gene keys, like maybe you want to have that structure and understanding of your human design. That's what I would do if you were in either of those camps. If you're like really wanting to understand these systems in yourself, like I said, I haven't put it together yet, but just reach out and I will put together some type of discount bundle if you would like both a human design and a gene keys reading. So the links will be below for that. As always, let me know you're listening over at I am Jasmine Elise. And if you feel that this would be helpful for someone else, definitely send this to them because this is truly, I believe, would enhance our entire world. It would enhance our humanity if we knew these things and aspects about ourselves and others because oh my goodness, I know the human design and gene keys of all of my friends, of my family, because it helps me understand them. So also as we are approaching, who am I kidding? I say approaching, it's like already started, like Black Friday started in like November 1st, right? I feel like it even started like in October, which is just like wild. But anyways, this is a great gift to give to someone as well. Like, here's the gift of your soul and who you are. Here's the blueprint of you. Merry Christmas. So these are amazing gifts to give to someone else. You would just let me know that you are purchasing it for someone else in their intake, and I will send them the intake so that they can have that. And so all of the links, all the details will be below. And with that, I'm just sending you all infinite love and light.